It's the Fellowship of the Geeks Show, brought to you through the support of the following: Awesome Comics at GalaxyColledDallas.com, SciFiFX.com, and Voodoo Gingerbread Graphics. Music courtesy of FreePlayMusic.com. You can contact the Fellowship at email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. And now, on with the show! Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Fellowship of the Geeks show for the week of June 18th, 2013. My name is Thomas Chick, and joining us via Google Hangout is Mike Marlowe.
Hi.
Who has his hand up. Les Webster. Raise your hand if you're sure. And from the website, Galaxy College Dallas, James Pickering.
So we're not doing our Horseshack impersonations? Mr. Canada!
So, how are you doing, guys?
Anybody else want to go first?
I'm doing well, thanks.
The Disco King is all over it today.
Yes, the Disco King is doing real well. How about you, Mikey?
Yeah.
Good answer. Anybody want to kind of have anything to say first before we get into tonight's show? Do we want to recount what fun Les had this weekend, or he's shaking his head no. Okay, well, never mind.
Actually, it was fun, Les. You had a great time. I mean, you got a free brownie, you got a free workout, you got a new hairdo to go with it.
Total makeover.
Yeah, exactly, and a car. You know.
You smart A.
Just not a new car. It's just new to you.
Exactly, yeah. I thought he would appreciate the new hairdo, but yeah.
Ooh.
The big difference is hair.
Long, beautiful hair.
Well, you know, and I didn't think it was so bad. For those that don't know, Les and I and his wife and my daughter, we went to an Arena League football game Saturday night. And somehow Les got, I don't know if it was asked, cajoled, or arm twisted into getting into this contest.
Shanghai.
And, yeah, Shanghai, pressed into service. The winner of the contest would win, I guess it was a 1968 Volkswagen Beetle, which I didn't think was in too bad a shape until they drove it around the field the first time, and the back left tire was doing this as it turned. So,
wow.
How it was still rolling, I have no idea. But considering what he had to go through, they should have gave him a Ferrari for that, you know.
I have nothing to say.
Well, here, let me finish it up for you then. Basically, what he had to do was him and two other contestants started off at the goal line, and they had to put on a wig, glasses, and was that it? Just wig and glasses?
The disco necklace.
Yeah, the disco, the swag chain. Yeah, that said disco.
He keeps talking about this necklace. I swear it's got to be.
Yeah, I think he's pretty proud of it.
It's the one he walked in with. I mean, come on.
He did get to keep it, so that's pretty sweet. So yeah, you got hair and jewelry too.
Yes.
But then you had to run down to like the 10 or 20 yard line. You had to take a brownie out of a wrapper. You had to shove it down your gullet. You had to run another 10 yards and dance to some music. And then you turn around and you run back the 20 yards to the car, and the first one back to the car got it. And Les, amazingly enough, beat everybody out.
And
he's fleet of foot. What can we say?
I was the eldest out there. I didn't think I'd even get to the brownie in time, but
Well, I have to admit that you shaved a few seconds off by not fully attaching the hairdo, and then you left half the brownie on the grounds out there, which I actually think accounted for a couple of tackles during the game. So, slipping on spent brownie.
Wow, that sounded really bad.
Yeah, it did.
I won't make you talk on the camera.
Hi, Lily.
Hi, Lily.
So,
She's like, how do these people know me?
Okay, let's go ahead and get into the show then. This first topic is something that Les and I have kind of talked offhand, a little bit off and on, for a couple of years. Last week, the website Comic Vine posted a question, and basically the question came out about an incident that happened in Justice League America #4, which came out a couple weeks ago. I'm not going to spoil it here for those who have not read it. I'm sure those who have read it or have been on the websites know what happened. But the question basically was asked: are comics still for kids? Anyone want to go first, or you want me to go, or?
Well, comics in general. Granted, they were originally started for kids, but comics in general have branched out to encompass all age groups. Now, is a kid going to be able to pick up Superman or Batman or something like that and be able to read it without a parent, needing to take a look at it? No. But they can pick up, well, I was going to say they could pick up Archie too, but Archie probably deals with some comic issues that parents don't want them thinking about right now either. But, if they get a Peanuts or something that's age appropriate, granted, comics started out as a novelty for adults, especially if you go back and you look at the real early comics, which were a little perverse, ranking right up there with nudie magazines and that type of thing. But as you started getting into the superhero genres, it kind of grew from. Granted, those kind of started out with kids, or at least one, popularity with the kids. But as times advance and other publishers come out, they start making comics for kids, or they make them for adults. And I've noticed lately, though, a lot of publishers have started coming out. The ones with mature content will actually put on there for mature audiences only, or they'll bag them or something like that. And but it has gotten to a point where if parents have kids that are reading comics, they need to start looking at them also. We're going to get to the point where we need a rating system for comics. I don't know. When they took away the what was the
Comics Code.
Yeah, the Comics Code. When they took that away, it kind of opened things up. You want up here now? But anyway, when they took away the Comics Code, it kind of opened it up for all kinds of stuff. Hold on, darling. Somebody else go ahead. I'll finish later.
Next.
I would say that they are written now for adults, and I'm saying anyone above age of 16. When I think of kids, I'm thinking of the youngers, 10 and younger. The titles that are printed for them, like Hero Bear and the Kid, the Balthazar series with Tiny Titans or Little Gotham, which is another series that DC is running now. They're good for kids to start reading, start learning. But once again, we go back to my problem with it, and that is that it costs too much. When a comic book costs $3, kids are not going to be able to afford them by any means. In the article that we were referenced to, they made the talk began of who needs to censor, and they were talking about shop owners or parents. And to me, it is parents that need to take a rein in this. Yet if a child brings up a title that is, we'll say, rated teen, then the parent should be told by the store owner that this is rated teen because of whatever may have happened in the book, whether it was a death, whether it was some nudity or language or something like that. I always felt that it was somewhat of the responsibility for the shop owner or the worker there to at least let somebody know about that. Otherwise, you're going to have parents come charging back in, how could you sell this to my kid, and here's a lawsuit. And that's been done many times for just that reason. Some comics, going back to the original, some comics are made for kids, but the majority of the comics are done for 16 and older.
Mike?
Yeah. And I find myself, I mean, it's one of those deals where I can understand why comic companies are hesitant to make more kid-friendly titles because, honestly, I mean, Les nailed it. Kids aren't the ones spending the money. They're not the ones who have money. And so, to an extent, can't blame them. But it doesn't really. It makes for you're breeding an audience that is ultimately going to go away because they're just going to age and die because you're not bringing kids in. I mean, it's important to appeal to the little tykes so that they're the ones who, when they do hit 16 and start having money, get jobs, do that sort of thing, that they want to go buy comics. They want to go buy more interesting comics and more exciting comics and that sort of thing. But if you're only going to put down 4% of what you're publishing towards the little kids, then I mean you're in a sense shooting yourself in the foot in order to improve your profit margin today, and it's not very forward thinking, really.
Well, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're saying the younger generation are not going to buy the comics, so we're not going to make comics for them, so they won't buy them. You know, it's and I understand the focus onto the older generation for several reasons, but you know, when I got into them, I was able to pick up any book and read it. Did I understand everything that happened in it? No, of course not. But I had the option. You really can't now because, like you guys said, it's already the books. Most books, especially the popular ones, are at least teen, geared toward teens and older, as in content. So, and it's not just the violence, but it was also sexual situations, because y'all might remember when the first issue of Catwoman came out. Well, even the Red Hood and the Outlaws #1, all the controversy about stuff that happened in that book a couple years ago. when they were saying, well, this is not good for kids. Well, but if you look at the book, the cover, right there, by the UPC code, it says rated teen. So you've got you've got the Little Gotham. You've got the books that Ape Entertainment puts out. You've got Boom's kid-friendly imprint, Kaboom. You've got a couple others, but for the most part, some of the others are they're kind of avoiding that market. Yeah, part of it is because they don't have the fun. They don't have the funds. But the thing is, by the time they get to where they have the money, the money to buy comics, they're spending it somewhere else. They're spending the money to get the cards to where they're in Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic or something like that because they're in the gaming then. Well, I need to buy the cards, so why would I want to spend the money on a comic?
Les brought up a really good thing about store owners having to letting parents know about if the kids are reading something that is probably out of their range. I had the same problem when I was working at the bookstore. Kids coming in and getting some of the manga titles when they really shouldn't have been getting those titles, or even books in general that I knew some of the content in the books and the situations they dealt with. I would warn the parent, and oh, they're fine. They've been reading this for but have you read the book? Are you aware of what's in it? Oh no, I trust their judgment, and that's where I want to smack a parent upside the head. Never trust your child's judgment because they're eventually going to get into something that they don't want you to know about, and they'll smile and lie through their teeth just so that they can keep reading it, and you won't be worried about it. On the other hand, though, coming from a guy who used to work in the bar industry, my big problem always was, with over serving. There are people out there that can drink until they're fall down drunk, but they would walk out, standing up. You couldn't tell that they were drunk. Now, that's a totally different thing from what a person selling a kid comic books has to do, but it's still a sense of responsibility. And like Les said, you have to tell a parent, okay, this might not be an appropriate comic book for them, but you've still got to worry about that parent sitting there and going, well, it's okay, I don't mind them, or, oh, it can't be near as bad as what they see on TV. Well, here, let me open it up to page 12 and show you what your child's going to be looking at, Sometimes you just need to smack that parent over the forehead with a 2x4, because most times parents are on autopilot, and it's a drunk autopilot on top of that. Going back to the original question, are comic books still for kids? They're not just for kids anymore. But that's where you've got the different imprints. There's Ape out of Fort Worth with all their stuff. Kaboom. In fact, I just read Hero Bear today, and that is a really good comic book. I like that one. If I can keep the kid from ripping the pages apart as we read it, I would love to read it to her. But she's a big page turner, so I'm going to have to strap some cardboard to them to make them last a little longer. But that's a great comic book. It's got a great message behind it. It's drawn so that it'll interest kids. Granted, it is black and white, or very little color to it, but it's great. And so, yeah, you've still got those comics out there, but the majority of them are very serious issues that you're dealing with, and there are some issues that I've seen done in comic books that even I have had to take a step back and go, wow, they really touched on that in a comic book. So
the question I have now is, with the majority of the comics, 95% of them are for adults, for 16 and older.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that on Free Comic Book Day you've got 30 to 50% of those books geared for children? Why is it that you want to bring them in as young readers, but don't supply them with a steady flow of reading material.
I think that percentage is a little high, actually. And it seems to me more that Free Comic Book Day is geared toward established readers.
Right.
They're not
worried about the kids. They're using the kid books to bring in parents.
Yeah.
To turn it into a fake family thing. And then once they get you in there, they hook you with the hardcore stuff, and then blow off the kids.
The first one's free, huh?
Pretty much.
I don't know. I don't think that, or maybe I just haven't paid attention to it enough. To me, when I go into a comic book shop, there are quite a few comic book shops that really have a good selection of they have a good kids section. Was it More Fun up in Denton on the Square? They've got a really good section of kids comics. Boomerang Comics over in Louisville. Neil over there has got a great section of kids comics and books. And you know, it's a way bigger section than I see in a lot of comic book shops. And so maybe I just don't notice when I go out to other places or on Free Comic Book Day. But I seem to think that most of them are well represented. Now, if you're talking about comic guys that don't normally produce a kid's comic, all of a sudden having one on Free Comic Book Day, then yeah, that I would have a problem with.
Well, I don't think I'd have to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure the ones that do put out the all ages titles have something. You know, I don't think the ones that do the more adult stuff put out something kid friendly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, DC does one of each. They do one that's more mainstream and all that, and then they'll do one that's going to be geared toward the all ages. But they do put out an all ages, but a few all ages titles.
Mm-hmm.
There is one. You talk about stores having sections for the younger crowd. I went into a store a couple weeks ago. It was 2 or 3 weeks ago, and walked around and I was walking around their vastly impressive graphic novels trade paperback section.
Mm-hmm.
Well, someone noticed me and walked up and asked me if I was looking for anything in particular. I'm actually kind of getting back into reading the old Archie stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for a fact that they put out 3 volumes of like the best of. I asked them for one of those, do you have the trades? Like, no, we don't carry that kind of stuff. We don't get the demand for it. They said, well, okay, well, do you have anything that's kid friendly? Yeah. Oh yeah, we got this small section right here, about maybe 3 small shelves.
Mm-hmm.
that has some graphic novels, and it has some of the titles that are coming out now, but that's it.
Yeah.
You know, it's again, it's the self-fulfilling prophecy.
So they said that they didn't carry Archie because why?
No, they just say they don't carry it and he actually asked me. He said, "Have you checked out Half Price Books?" And I said I went to one location and looked, and he said, "Did you look at the kids section?" I said, "No, I didn't even think about that."
Mm-hmm.
I was actually over with where the rest of the graphic novels and comics were.
Mm-hmm.
He said you need to go over there and check. You need to go over to the kids section. They may have them there. I'm like,
yeah. Kudos for him for at least knowing where you could find them and offering you that option and everything. Being in retail service for so many years, I applaud people that take that extra step to know that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, I tried when I was in retail. If I could get the information and help them out, because it comes back to you.
Yeah, the you know, and that's the thing. People that talk about, oh, it doesn't sell. Well, you know what? That's something where, especially if it's kids type stuff, you've got to make people aware that you have that kind of stuff. There's parents out there that probably don't know that you have all that kind of sell that type of material, or that it's even available to their kids. And then even more so, as Les and I have talked about, and you also, Thomas, about getting out and getting into the schools and doing things with the schools and getting comic books to the kids there. And then and working with the parents and letting them know that these are the titles that are available and we've got them. Too many places don't do enough of that.
Yep, that's a good point. I really don't know what. I definitely don't have the answer. So I don't think any of us do. Other than what you just said, James, it's just to do a better job marketing. But
But yeah, the deal is at what level does that happen? I mean, you're not going to get Marvel and DC out there marketing in individual schools.
No.
Which means you rely on it, since there is no middleman other than Diamond. Then Diamond's certainly not going to do it. That means you're stuck as an individual small business owner, being the poor guy who has to do all that legwork, and that's a lot for some of them to take on.
Well, does Diamond publish a catalog or anything like that, like some of the book publishers do?
Well, they got the previews every month.
Well, yeah. Oh, that's right, they do. Yeah, I completely forgot that.
The wish book.
Well, do they have a section in there for kids stuff, or?
They don't categorize it, but they do have various publishers that do carry children's titles. There's not just a section that says kids' books.
See, maybe they need to do that,
or just a pull-out.
Yeah, or even a pull-out.
Honestly, you could just mail to local schools.
Exactly.
Just get them to post stuff on their bulletin board for you.
Well, heck, that's like Netflix. When I go to Netflix, I now have the option of looking at regular Netflix or going to Netflix for Kids, which is all the kid-friendly stuff. That's a good step for them. It makes it easier for me instead of having to wade through and go, oh, I really want to watch that, and then looking at the 3-year-old and going, yeah, we can't watch that. It's nothing but the kids stuff. Yeah. Sometimes of course, I know where they're coming from. Oh, it's all that extra paper and all that extra printing and all that extra labor we've got to pay for to do that. And so,
no, it's an investment.
Yeah.
That's why you have marketing budgets. You're investing in future sales.
Well, James, Les, and I had a kind of discussion about marketing last Friday. I believe it was.
Were we drinking?
No.
Not any more than we are now.
Yeah, we should have been.
So, just to wrap things up for this topic, anything else you want to add? I think we said pretty much said our piece, and just I don't know.
It's pretty open-ended one. We're not going to solve the world's problems on that one.
Nope. Unfortunately not.
But we sure can't point fingers, can't we?
Oh, man. We got that part down pat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Robert Klein said it best, the horse is dead.
Let's start beating it then.
Flog it.
Okay. We have no game tonight. We have a secondary topic, and it'll probably take as long as this discussion probably take as long as the previous one just did.
It'll be more fun though.
It may be more fun. For those who don't know, because I hadn't really kind of advertised it or anything. Not that I'm ashamed or anything, but Les and James and I went to see Man of Steel Friday, and I think we all enjoyed the movie. I think some of us had some problems. I know I had a couple of problems with it, but I'm still enjoying the movie. But seeing the feedback from social media, and granted that's just going to be a percentage of people who have seen the movie, the more vocal, It kind of hit me. It's kind of started me thinking about when they reboot characters, especially if they start doing the origins and show the develop the characters. It seems to me there's an unexpected, there's unrealistic expectation that the character who the audience are expecting the character to be we know them best for, just right there and then. They're not willing to see the growing, the maturing.
Exactly. They don't want to see the journey.
They don't want to see
else's interpretation.
Yeah.
They want everybody wants to see their own interpretation, and honestly, for everybody, that's a different thing.
That's true.
And so they're not always happy about how this guy has envisioned this particular hero, because it doesn't align with the way they envision it.
Well, I mean, for one example, and I'll use this example because it's been out for a while. I heard someone complain about Star Trek Into Darkness, and one of the complaints was, well, Kirk never says I'm sorry. And he does in this. He apologizes to his crew because at that particular sequence, it looked like it was about to hit the fan.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is why? Because the William Shatner Kirk never said I'm sorry. Well, he's not. First of all, he's not that Kirk anyway. Second of all, he hasn't gotten to the. He's still maturing. I mean, he's still learning. I mean, that was what the whole movie was about. I mean, he was still he got reprimanded at the first of the movie because of it being too much gung ho, not thinking about the awesome responsibility he has not only to the ship but for the crew. That was the development of the character through the movie. I mean, it's taken us two movies to get to something close to the characters that the general public know and love. But people complain about that. And I was like, I mean, what did you want? You just want the person basically to be born and then all of a sudden be a 20-year veteran? I don't understand it.
That's what I was hearing a lot of too. Was people automatically, we're in the second movie. We're done with character development. Let's move on and see the true Star Trek. And or if it wasn't that, well, I mean, and they forget that in this iteration of the show, of the series, in this timeline, Kirk loses his dad at a very early age, and or he never knows his dad. So maybe he grows up. Well, I mean, he grows up with his mother's influence all this time. Maybe that taught him to say I'm sorry a little bit more often than in the first timeline where he has his dad most of his life. So people forget that kind of stuff, and they which basically just drives me up the wall, because of all the things you could argue about, that's what you got. He says I'm sorry in this one. Okay. It's not like we've got the character Jethro Gibbs off NCIS. He never says he's sorry either. Yeah. But he does look at you with those eyes every once in a while, and he's meaning it.
But honestly, Kirk in the original series did that a few times. There was the soulful eyes thing.
Yeah.
Going on a few times. I mean, he never said the words, but honestly, it was the late '60s. Everybody on TV was big and tough, and I'm sorry anyway.
It was the macho BS, yes.
Absolutely.
The machismo. They either want character development right then and there, or they don't want character development. And then the thing that gets me is the whole, oh my God, this director did what? He can't possibly do that. He can't. That's not Superman. I'm like, well, all right. We've seen 75 years of Superman be the original Boy Scout. Truth, justice in the American way. I don't mind seeing him. Let's see something different. Let's see how he would handle it. And to not spoil anything, but for once, this movie put him in a situation where it is, I have no other choice. Did I like that? It broke my heart to see what he had to do. It really did. Because to me, that's not the way I was raised to see Superman. But did I respect that answer? And did I see that as, when I walked out, I was like, he had no choice. I couldn't see another way out of it.
No. Actually, after I got through the movie and came home, one of my Facebook friends, I've talked about him before to you guys. He's a diehard Superman fan, and he has like 24 different versions of the costume that he wears. He's I don't know if he considers him a cosplayer, but he's a cosplayer, and he looks real good. I mean, he works out and everything. I asked him because I know he had seen it a couple of times, and I asked him, "What'd you think about that?" And he didn't. He responded, he didn't have a choice, and I don't have a problem with it.
No.
You know, it was a no-win situation. And he had to do what he had to do, and you know, the thing is that opens the door for the next one to see what he did. He regretted. We saw that immediately.
Mm-hmm.
The next one will carry that on probably. We'll see.
Yeah. There were some people that were coming up. I was reading some of the websites and everything, and a lot of complaints about, you know, he spent more time fighting than he did saving people. Well, you know what? He's godlike. He's not God, and so he can't save everybody.
Yeah, and well, that was another thing because I saw that too. I'm like, look. He wasn't even prepared to make make the world aware that he was there.
Mm-hmm.
That option was taken away from him. Yeah, it was taken away from him.
Yeah.
You know, when a ship shows up and there's this big ass alien voice saying there is an alien among you, give him to us or face the consequences.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't prepared.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you know. He was a rookie. He made rookie mistakes. There was stuff that that the veteran Superman wouldn't make. And also, I had problems with the detail of the destruction of both Smallville and Metropolis. How much was actually destroyed, and implied that there was that many deaths. But I'm also going, God, look at the Avengers.
Oh heck yeah!
New York was literally destroyed.
It's like so many of the moviegoers gave the Avengers a blank check, said destroy what you want to. It's okay with us. And then they look at Superman and go, oh my God, I can't believe he can't do that. They can't do that. But you got to understand, these are aliens. You know, again, these are aliens that are the equivalent to Superman. And so you better expect some ground zero. Ground zero being a couple miles wide. If you want to get nitpicky, I love seeing them catch somebody in mid-flight while they're flying at a couple of 100 miles an hour and not snapping that person's neck. But, hey, it's a movie. It's Superman. I'm sure that he slows up a little bit right before he grabs them. That's my excuse. But, that's all part of being the nitpicky and stuff. And I've heard some people out there just nitpicking like you wouldn't believe. But all in all, it's not core Superman, and I wasn't expecting that. But I thought the movie was a great new way to look at Superman. I especially like the flashbacks, as they did the flashbacks. And I tell you, there was a couple of moments when I got misty-eyed, especially with Pa Kent. For Superman to trust his Earth dad so much to let happen what he let happen, that's heartbreaking to see that. And to me, that's good story writing. when you can make your audience feel that way.
But I've heard nitpicking about that too. So it's just like whatever.
Yeah. And basically, that's what it all comes down to. It's all opinion. It's everybody's opinions.
Yeah.
Will we go to war over it? No. I don't have that kind of time or energy.
Les, you've been awful quiet on this subject.
I'm in freeze frame. Looking at the two movies you discussed, both ultimates were laid out. In Superman, it was laid out to him as to what was going to happen. As to Kirk in Star Trek, it was laid out to him. They said, you've got to care for your crew. That's when he said he was sorry. It was told to Superman this is what was going to happen, and that's what happened. So this is, Mike is right. This is an interpretation. Take it as such. There are movies out there that I thoroughly enjoy, some that I wasn't so thrilled with because that's not what I imagined. But I was happy to say that I was able to see somebody's different interpretation, and I took it as such. I did not want to bash a movie because it wasn't what I thought. Because what I think is not printed to start. I can hold my thoughts, and should hold my thoughts to myself in those instances. Not jump online and be the brave person. To me, it's the brave coward to get out there and write about something like that, to oppose something like that and say that I'm right and you're wrong. Everybody can do that. So, it's like a navel. Everybody's got one. Everybody's got an opinion. Let it go. Both those movies, both the Star Trek and the Man of Steel, were very enjoyable for me. Although Steel lasted a little longer than I thought it should have.
Mm-hmm.
But it was good. It was well done, and even the fact that it was a little longer, they didn't stretch a portion of it to make it sappy. They continued the action to finish out the movie.
I think that was one of the things with the length and stuff. There was quite a few people that said the length, it was really long, and I have to agree that, to me, it could have been shortened a little bit, especially right there at the end when they bring down the main ship. That last scene was odd. Could that have been incorporated somewhere else? I think it could have, and you might have been able to shave off about 20 or 30 minutes. But also, I think they were trying to go for, the reason they kept the fight scene so long was to just kind of go and show exactly how epic and monumental these battles would be between these beings. But I still think they could have shaved it down a little bit and still got that point across. So yeah, length of the movie, Hey, but at least this time I wasn't dancing out to the bathroom this time. I controlled my fluid intake on the way. Woohoo! You have to prepare for these things.
Gotta think about it, absolutely.
Yes, do not drink a big gulp before you go see Titanic. Yeah, exactly.
I know that now.
Water everywhere. I gotta go!
Right at that middle point, right about the hour and a half mark. Oh my God. Insane.
That's why I brought it up. Okay. Before we go ahead and sign off for tonight, does anybody else have anything to add to that before we move on? I think we pretty much answered that question, or whatever.
If the answer was that everybody in the whole wide world needs to lighten up, then yeah. Okay.
I'll accept that.
That's all that last 30 minutes was, just lighten up. Man,
it was a wind down.
Well, I should have gone on YouTube and look for the William Shatner Saturday Night Live. get a life.
Yeah.
I thought about that a lot this weekend. I really did. Oh well. Anybody got any things they want to? Any news items that they want to kind of bring to people's attention before we call it an evening?
Let's see. I'm still waiting for Studio Movie Grill to get their site updated, so I'll know exactly what time. But I'm putting together the. I changed the title on it. It's not the Old Geeks Matinee anymore.
Oh.
Well, I kind of thought that was leaving some people out, so I just call it the Early Geek Matinee now. I didn't want everybody to think that it was just for old people or that we were old.
Early as in early in the morning, or early as in like Cro-Magnon?
No. It's like early lunch.
Yes.
But this week it'll be World War Z with Brad Pitt, and not everybody's into zombie movies, but you know what? Just from the way that and I know people are already talking about, oh, it's not going to be like the book. Well, okay, again, as what we just talked about, get over it, Yeah. I really like the way they've done the zombies in this one, and that's when I first saw the trailer, I was thinking, okay, it was bad enough. George Romero comes out with zombies, and they're shambling, and you're like, well, maybe I can get away, but you never see the people get away. They always die. You're like, oh, that's bad. And then they finally, in the 80s and in the 90s, you get the fast zombies. The zombies start speeding up. They're working out. They're doing, interval training, that kind of thing. And
Tybo.
Huh?
Tybo.
That's right. They're getting faster.
Zombies doing Tybo.
Billy Blake's Tybo. That's right. So now, all of a sudden, to see these zombies to where they're super fast and they've got that ant mentality to claw over the dead body or the dead undead body of their partner, and to form these chains and to bring down choppers and climb walls, that scares the poop out of me, and I'd like to go see that. So that's where I'll be at Friday morning, Studio Movie Grill, Spring Valley location, somewhere between 11 and 11:30. If you check out the Facebook page, I should have a time down as soon as they update their website.
Okay.
I am not sitting beside James. If this is going to scare the poop out of him, I want nowhere near him.
No. I will be prepared. I will have my astronaut diaper on.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Nothing. Okay.
I just want to say thanks to James for listing the supermoon coming up. That looks to be interesting. So I want to see that. The moon at its greatest on the 22nd. That should be quite the phenomenon to see.
Actually, if you go out tonight, it should be really close to the star Spica, which is in Sagittarius. It's one of the brighter stars in that constellation. It should be really close to that. As soon as I get off with you guys here, I'm probably going to go drag the telescope out real quick to take a look at it. And then I posted right after that post, there's 3 or 4 more events throughout the month of June that are going to be pretty cool. So I like my astronomy stuff there. So
Awesome.
sweet.
Cool.
Anybody else?
Speaking of these movies that we're speaking about, it would seem, and I only just noticed this just a little bit ago,
Mm-hmm.
before we started. Apparently, Will Wheaton has posted his review of Star Trek Into Darkness on his blog, like within the last couple of hours. So I haven't read it yet or anything, but
Okay.
it might be interesting.
He didn't break his motto, did he?
I don't know. I haven't read it yet.
Oh, okay.
Will Wheaton.
Wheaton!
I wanted to do an update. You guys remember a few weeks ago the story I've told about the guy that found a copy of Action Comics #1 that was used as his insulation?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, according to comicbookresources.com, this was dated a few days ago. It sold for $175,000.
Oh, the one the guy found in the wall of the.
They found in the wall, and then between him and his aunt or aunt-in-law, the tear in the back page, and according to the official grader, that was about a $75,000 tear.
Yeah.
I can post a link because it has the picture front and back of the slabbed issue, and it is a significant tear. I mean, it's almost it's all the way to the spine. I mean, just a little bit more, and it would have been completely torn off.
Aunt Margaret's not coming to Thanksgiving next year.
Not unless she brings a $75,000 check.
Yeah. So
in my world, there'd be no court that would convict him.
Yeah. So that's not too bad. You know, he bought a house. This is a fixer-upper in Elbow Lake, Minnesota, for $10,100, and gets a comic book that's worth $175,000.
Now he can fix her upper. In short, on Whedon's site, his short version is, I loved it. I think it's my favorite Star Trek movie ever. Oh, and by the way, when I looked up his website, I spelled his last name Whedon, as in Joss Whedon.
Oops.
Accidentally.
Yeah, right. Accidentally on purpose.
But it still pulled up the website.
Yeah. I enjoyed the movie too. I had a couple, like Man of Steel, I had a couple of problems, but I still overall enjoyed the film. So, but you know, there's not a perfect movie out there, as has already been mentioned a couple of times. So, anything else before we? Huh?
There's a perfect movie out there.
What?
Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh yeah, Jack Burton and the Pork Chop Express, baby.
Well, you know what? I take it back. Lost Skeleton the Cadaver.
Here.
Anything else before we call it a night?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, thank you guys for watching the show.
We say good night.
James, you want to go ahead and plug the site and social media?
www.agalaxycalleddallas.com, or you can follow me on Twitter at Galaxy_Dallas, or you can find me on Facebook at that place. It's just Galaxy Called Dallas, no A at the beginning of it.
Okay. And Mikey, you're on Twitter as
At Mikey Geek.
You're on your tweeter?
Feel free to follow me, James.
I don't think he even heard it, so say it
One more
again.
time. I'm sorry, my kid was yelling at me.
I said at Mikey Geek. Feel free to follow me, James.
I thought I did.
No.
Really?
Speaking about Twitter.
Leave my tweeter out of this.
I saw on the news, the evening news, a couple hours ago that tweet is officially in the Oxford Dictionary,
Yay! About time.
as well as flash mob, mani petty, and there was another word I forgot what it was right now. Live blog or blog journal, something like that. It's something about a blog. Is now in the Oxford Dictionary. So
Tweet as in
you post something
communication.
as you post on Twitter.
Not as in what birds say, no.
Okay, because I was going to say it was in there before.
Yeah, but we're talking about Twitter now. You know,
Okay.
consider well, that's actually, if you think about it, that's pretty. And they remarked on the news item that, you know, Twitter hadn't been around that long, and usually a word takes about 10 years or so before the Oxford Dictionary actually puts it in. So the fact that tweet, as in posting an item on Twitter, has shown up in a couple of years says something.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting
The
achievement.
power of Twitter.
Yeah. So, guys, y'all take care. I guess I need to talk about it. Of course, www.thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. Facebook at the fellowshipofthegeeks.net. We're on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. So,
Just Google it.
just make sure it's .net and .com, because .com is someone else who's fighting me over that frickin' domain name.
See, that's what you should do in your logo. One of the characters in the logo should be holding a net. That'll help people remember that.
Yeah, there you go.
Or even just a little voice bubble in their hand that says .net.
We can work on that. So, until next time, guys, y'all take it easy. Good night.
Later.
Bye.